all this stuff tells us about ourselves.
That's where you leave a lot of tears.
I look at this collection as being a people's collection. This is a sacred trust.
Dear Vietnam soldier, thank you for all you did for our country and risking your lives.
It was conceived as a gash in the ground, a wound in the earth. The designer envisioned a polished granite surface that would reflect life in death. Their engraved names would be a powerful memorial to those who died too young. The Vietnam veteran who pushed for its creation wanted to find a way to heal embattled and embittered veterans and to help soothe a society still divided by a controversial conflict. But no one foresaw that from its opening in 1982, people would come to the Vietnam Veterans Memorial and leave mementos.
There's teddy bears and high school rings and old photographs that mamas bring.
Large and small, personal and military, obvious and mysterious. Offerings at the wall.
There's combat boots he used to wear when he was sent over there. And there's 50,000 names carved in the wall.
Month after month, year after year, decade after decade, the offerings have been left. In 1986, the National Park Service organized them into a formal collection, now located outside of the District of Columbia in suburban Maryland.
It's impossible for any one person to know all there is about this collection. I always tell people that there are at least 125,000 to maybe 150,000 objects in this collection.
That's more than 2 times as many objects as names on the wall. By Memorial Day 2010, there were 58,267. A few are added each year as additional fatalities are verified. Dory Felton has been the only curator all this has ever had. He's a wounded Vietnam veteran himself who recognized objects no one else understood.
I knew what they were. I said, you know, those are military pajamas, that's a souvenir sword from Thailand, whatever.
There's a great deal of whatever in the thousands of plastic boxes where most of the objects are stored. They range from elaborate, carefully prepared offerings to notes written on the spur of the moment on brown paper bags.
I surmise that someone probably came to the wall, overcome with emotions, and they had to put this down in chapter and verse. This is great literature in this collection. This is first-hand accounts. It is unaltered. It is unedited. It will punch you in the stomach. But this collection is also a celebration of life.
There are favorite foodstuffs and clothing, alcohol and cigarettes, birthday cards and Easter baskets. Sometimes there are explanatory notes. More often, there are not.
There's an empty champagne bottle and 2 goblets, but there's no message, no photographs. And I've often wondered if this was dreams deferred. There's so many stories that you could probably visualize. We have in this collection numerous trifold flags. This one is a captain, Special Forces, United States Army. There's no supporting donor information. This is our famous hippy-dippy hat, as we call it. And this is reminiscent of some of the headgear from the 60s.
Young professionals, graduate students, and interns record and carefully catalog each object as it comes in. Park rangers collect everything except parachute with the catalogers not to judge or interpret the objects.
Integrity is very important. That's some of the things I try to impress upon the interns here, because many of them are young, and about 60% of today's population was not alive during Vietnam. They don't have a clue as regards to Vietnam.
Dory himself tries not to overinterpret, but he does say he often feels like he's an uninvited onlooker, peeking over the shoulders of the people as they leave things.
We know it's important to them, these objects. In a way, it's a sense of vulnerability they are displaying. So we're coming behind them and we're looking at these boxes. And, you know, we ask questions amongst us. I wonder what this is for, what that's for. Yeah. But we're voyeurs.
In a locked cabinet, 4 sets of General Stars, left by former chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Peter Pace, to honor 4 Marines who served under him in 1968.
As a young man, he acted as a platoon leader in the Vietnam War. Each of these white index cards that are inscribed with the name represent and honor those individuals who were killed under his command.
They scan the wall and find his name. The teardrops fall like pouring rain. Then silently they leave a gift and go.
Initially, it seemed to be sort of a one-time event that was tied to the emotion of this new monument in Washington and all of these military veterans and others who had all of this sort of psychological baggage that they were dealing with.
Vietnam vet Jan Scruggs led the struggle to create the memorial, approved by Congress, funded with private donations, and built on public land, all in the course of 3 years. He thought it was something that was needed for individual veterans and for the whole country.
Just as individual participants and family members need to deal with traumatic events of losing a friend in Vietnam, so too does the nation as a whole, as a collectivity, need a symbol of reconciliation, of healing.
As opposition to the Vietnam War rose in the country, the homecoming was tough for most returning vets, sometimes downright hostile, even if they only came home for leave.
I made the mistake of going to a place where people my age would hang out at that time in uniform. And it was a bad experience.
People really were angry at the military veterans of the war for being a part of the military.
Betty Jo Kiefer, who was growing up at the end of the Vietnam years, has 3 sons who have deployed. Their experience has been completely different.
My boys are received very well when they come back. People stop them, shake their hands, thank them for their service. It's just a totally different world for my sons when they come home, especially when they're in uniform.
Some believe that recent appreciation for service is due in part to the existence of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial, that the wall has had genuine healing power for the country.
It was not a memorial to glorify war. It's not a memorial of any kind other than to honor the soldiers.
Tony Fasolo attended the dedication ceremony in 1982.
When I first saw it, I was a little struck by what was called the black gash in the ground. I have to admit that. But then I realized when you walk down there, if you walk along the wall, you feel like you're part of it.